Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria, and in today's video I am going to talk about how to establish your breast milk production. I have exclusively breastfed 3 children, with this one being my third. He's 7 weeks old. Look how big he is. Oh, he's probably pushing 14 pounds now. And that burp just came from him getting some milk in. I know you want some more. So I'm going to talk about how to successfully establish your milk supply with breastfeeding so that you can exclusively breastfeed your baby for as long as you want. So I have breastfed my children, my 2 older children, up until about 3.5, 4 years of age. And, you know, it's ideal to at least breastfeed to 6 months. And any more than that is, you know, it's all beneficial. So whatever you can do when it comes to breastfeeding can be beneficial. But if you'd like to be successful with long-term breastfeeding or any breastfeeding in general, you're going to need to follow these tips. So first things first, as soon as the baby's born, you need to get them to latch. So they say that the first 4 hours after a baby's born are the golden hours, and that's when you really need to be having that skin-to-skin contact and having them nurse as much as they desire. So they're also going to be sleeping during that time, but when they're awake, they should be nursing. So your first milk that comes in is called colostrum. It's a pre-milk substance. It's very nutrient dense, and because the baby's stomach is so small, it's very concentrated in energy and nutrients. It has like a golden yellow color to it, and it's very thick. But yeah, that's what comes in first before your milk does, because the baby's stomach is very small. So as soon as the baby's born, and I remember this very clearly in my mind after he was born, I had him on my chest. I actually had to take off my robe that I had, or my hospital gown, and get him directly on my skin, and then he found my nipple and started nursing. So you want to get them to latch right away, and then you're also going to want to have some of this around, some nipple cream, because they're going to be nursing a lot and your nipples are going to get sore. So the more preventative you can be, the better, and you want to use a nipple cream that's going to be safe for them. This brand in particular, I got it on Amazon. It doesn't contain lanolin. Lanolin is an animal-derived fatty product. This uses beeswax instead. It does the same job. Basically acts as a protectant to your skin when that skin's going to be broken down and has to, you know, strengthen from all of the suckling. So that's what you're going to be doing in order to establish your supply. Is they're going to be nursing on demand pretty much during their waking hours. So baby will sleep typically from 2 to 3 hours and be awake for about 45 minutes. And in that 45 minutes, they're going to want to eat when they wake up, and they're going to want to eat when they go to bed. Their wake window is going to be very small. Even now, his wake window is still probably about an hour to an hour and a half. Oh, got a little too much. But at the start, you know, you have to be patient with your body too when it comes to your milk coming in. So the more they are nursing and getting that colostrum in, the more it's going to signal to your body for your milk to come in. So milk to come in takes about, you know, I've had it come in as soon as like 24 hours after I started nursing to about 48. I think it took 48 hours of nursing him on colostrum for my milk to fully come in. I'd say I had like a hybrid milk after about the 24-hour mark, where it was like a less thick version of colostrum mixed with, you know, the milk starting to come in. But that is what you can expect. At the hospital, I also requested a hand pump. So this has a bottle that's actually full of milk in my fridge that connects to it, and you just put it on your breast there and you squeeze it. And that I had requested to prevent any kind of mastitis from occurring. Mastitis can occur when you don't get enough milk out of your breast and it causes engorgement, and then if you don't get that milk out, it can cause an infection. So I've had that happen once, probably around the 4-week mark. I started feeling some tenderness and swelling in my armpit area, and I knew what it was, so I just instinctively pumped the milk out and it cleared itself up completely. Now, when it comes to pumping, it's good to have a pump around to help with engorgement if it happens, especially if you're like a new mom and it's your first time breastfeeding. And that's the other thing. If you want to be successful with breastfeeding, you have to really want it, because there are going to be little hiccups that occur early on, that you're going to have to kind of just like work through when it comes to the baby's like digestive tract and learning how to burp them properly. And a lot of times they get gassy right away, and you might be eating something that is getting into your milk that's bothering them, like he doesn't like spices or tomatoes, and those are the only times that I've eaten something and he's got in my milk where he spit up. So those are all things to like think about when you're nursing. The other things are, you're going to want to make sure you're staying hydrated. You're going to need to drink more water, and you're going to need to eat more calories than you did when you're pregnant. So I noticed right after I had him, I needed to eat a lot more. And then because you have to get up with the baby every 2 to 3 hours, and sometimes they're not even sleeping that much, especially when they're waiting for your milk to come in, it's good to have snacks around. I remember snacking in the night, just to help my supply, but also to help me like stay awake to nurse him and have the energy. And eating a lot helps to decrease cortisol that tends to elevate when you have to be up against your will, I guess, or against your natural desire for sleep, in order to take care of the baby. So that also helps with like postpartum weight loss and things like that, as well as breastfeeding helps to support postpartum weight loss. But you can expect to hold an extra, I'd say 5 to 10 pounds on your body while breastfeeding. Some people this isn't the case, but in my experience and the experience I've had with working with other women who have breastfed, your body likes to hold a little bit of reserves for the baby. So you can expect, that to be the case in some cases. Anyways, so the trick with breastfeeding and being successful with it is that you need to nurse directly also. So it's best to avoid giving the baby a bottle or pacifier and up until about 4 to 6 weeks while you're establishing your breast milk supply, because you're going to establish the best supply when they are directly nursing. A pump cannot pull the amount of milk out of your body like their little mouth can. It's a different expression of the milk. So definitely use a pump as a backup for engorgement, and get into pumping after 6 weeks. So I didn't start pumping on the regular until I got to the 6-week mark. And I haven't really given him a pacifier. Now, the hospital had given him a pacifier, and then I found later on that a pacifier can actually cause them to become over tired and not nurse as effectively because they get tired out. So using the pacifier makes them expel a lot of energy, and they're not getting any energy from it. So then it develops this like nasty cycle of them not being able to sleep because they're not fed. So I dealt with that a little bit at the beginning. So definitely try not to use a pacifier. I know at the hospital it can be hard because they do, heel prick your baby and need to take them for testing, and a lot of times just popping a binky in their mouth can help to keep them calm for those tests. So that's what had happened in my situation. But then when I brought him home, it was at night and he had already been overstimulated and everything, but we had a really rough night the first night. Anyways, so try to avoid a pacifier and avoid giving them a bottle until they reach about 4 to 6 weeks. So also between the 4 to 6 week range, which I just got out of, you may experience cluster feeding. So cluster feeding is when the baby skips the daytime naps and they opt to just nurse all day instead. And you might find this to be really frustrating and really annoying and really exhausting, but it serves a purpose. And that purpose is the baby's about to go through a huge growth spurt and they are increasing your milk supply. So let it happen. Anything else that you have to do during this time, just let it go and you will have the time to get back to it eventually. And because it won't last forever. He's now, back to napping normally and sleeping normally, and my milk supply has increased so much that I have an oversupply now, and I am able to pump at least once a day, anywhere from 3 to 5 ounces. So that is one of the benefits of letting the cluster feeding kind of run its course. So I avoided pumping except for the one time I had the engorgement, until I've gotten to the 6-week mark. So he hasn't gotten a bottle until I got to about 6 weeks postpartum, and him 6 weeks of age. So that is where I'm at right now. So the best tips are to follow everything that I talked about to establish the breastfeeding, and then to keep it going, let them nurse directly as much as possible. He only gets a bottle once a day max, and not from me. So I am trying to, I want him to be able to take a bottle, but also not associate the bottle with me, but to associate the bottle with other people who feed him, like my husband and my mom and my children. And then, like I said, you want to let them directly nurse as much as possible, because it's going to signal your body more than a pump does to continue making milk. So it is a positive feedback loop. The more they nurse, the more milk you're going to have. 6 weeks and under, it's about frequency of nursing, how often they're nursing that builds your supply. After 6 to 8 weeks, it's how much milk are they needing, so it's about quantity. So first it's about frequency of nursing, then it's about quantity and how much milk they are needing, and that signals your body how much to make. Okay, so to continue that process, just let them nurse as much as possible. Babies need to be exclusively on breast milk or some kind of liquid supplement until about 6 months. At the 6-month mark, you can start introducing foods, and then continuing to breastfeed, and then the weaning process starts, I'd say, about the year mark, where they're just not needing as much calories from the breast milk, but they're still needing some kind of nutritional supplement like breast milk or formula until they get to about 2, and then from there things start to shift. But it's really important to get that breastfeeding established right away if you want to be successful with it, because the first 6 months they got to be exclusively on liquids, and then from there, if you want to continue to breastfeed, which the World Health Organization has suggested breastfeeding, if you can, to 2 years, because it's just so beneficial. There's so many nutrients that you can't mimic in formula that they get from nursing, that your body just knows to give them. And like I said, make sure you're drinking enough water, eating enough food. I recommend a high carb, low fat diet. I've breastfed all my kids on a diet like that. I've never had an issue with supply. And as you get later into breastfeeding, it really comes down to making sure that you are eating enough in order to continue to make milk, as well as directly nursing. Those are the 2 things that will get you into the realm of extended breastfeeding, long-term breastfeeding. Okay, leave any comments or questions down below. I'm going to put this little one down for a nap once he's done nursing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.